Palisades, a Los Angeles neighborhood 20 miles west of downtown, is the epicenter of this week's disaster. More than 5,000 homes and structures destroyed, about 20,000 acres razed by the flames, and nearly 40,000 people ordered to flee for their lives. I grew up in Pacific Palisades, and the whole town was gone as we knew it.
The fire swept in like a hurricane Tuesday night, flames ripping through Altadena at a relentless pace.
As you can see, so many homes over here have been destroyed. And that fire continues to burn all around us. We're hearing the sound of explosions. Watch out, there's a down power line over here, so I think this is as far as we're gonna go. But it is just an absolute wasteland.
The city sits at the foothills of the San Gabriel Mountains, a hardworking and diverse community who put everything they had into their homes. It gave them a sense of pride. James Fowler grew up in this neighborhood. His father bought a home here in the early 60s, and James's mother moved in when they got married. They raised a family, put down roots, from weekend barbecues in the backyard and afternoon swims to celebrating engagements and birthdays.
Happy birthday, dear Jamie.
This home was the backdrop for all the big Fowler family moments, and it's the place where his father passed away. Afterwards, James continued to live there with his mother, embraced by their tight-knit community. But as the smoke finally lifted on Wednesday morning, it became clear. James's hometown was forever changed.
I'm so sorry. It's all gone.
James's brother-in-law made his way to the family home and sent this video.
Oh my God. Oh God. It's gone.
This is what the house looked like before the fire. Now all that's left is a chimney and a truck in the driveway. Thursday afternoon, James returned to his beloved Altadena.
I knew people all up and down here on the mountain, all around this whole area. This whole area is where I grew up, really.
Driving the streets, James looked for his local restaurants, his schools. It was all gone.
I jumped to my head and cried again, because it's so devastating and so shocking, And it's just like, I didn't believe it's real, and now seeing it is like,
He finally made it to his family's home. He wanted to see it with his own eyes.
I can't really make anything out.
A home in ruins.
There you go. It's wild. This is devastating. Of course, the smoker is fine. Made a lot of good barbecue, honestly, for many years.
And then his father's truck, slightly melted, but still there. Perhaps a message of strength from above.
There's a haunting serenity up here, even in this.
Yeah, it's still so unbelievable,
James never imagined any of this when he last left the house as the flames approached.
I knew it was coming this way. We've escaped fires before. I grabbed what I could, and we decided that, it's time to go.
James packed up his father's ashes, some clothes, and a toothbrush, and banged on neighbors' doors as he left to warn them.
It seemed kind of chaotic.
The family had evacuated from fires before.
It was very scary up here as we were leaving. The glow was terrifying.
This time was different.
This was such a beautiful home. It sounds like it was your father's forever home.
Yeah.
It was your forever home.
Yeah.
This is where you wanted to spend your life.
It is. Yeah, absolutely. And who knows, maybe we rebuild here, I'm concerned.
A new home, he knows, will never be the same, but the people are.
I'll be honest with you in saying that, while it's overwhelming, and it is big stuff, it's still just stuff, So that's something I have to remember, that it's big stuff, but it's just stuff.
Yeah.
Right?
So when you have a community like this, it does make it a little bit easier.
That's right. I'm just grateful for what I've got. I've got great friends, I've got a great family, I've got a great support system, I've got a great church, a great community. So it's just, I'm grateful. Bring the engine right here.
It's been a 4-day nightmare for firefighters in Southern California. Today, we went into LA's rustic Topanga Canyon. It's on the north flank of the Palisades fire. Flames, smoke, and a battle up and down the mountain. We rode along the twisty roads to find the heart of the firefight with Battalion Chief Brent Pasqua from CAL FIRE.
So we're doing everything we can right now to control the spread of this fire. If we can jump on this fire now, stop the spread of it, when the wind comes, we'll be in better shape to not have a fire escape out of our perimeter and keep this within the perimeter.
The crews gave hope to residents who were fighting the fire themselves. They were relieved to look upward.
What impact did those airdrops have? Well, tremendous impact, because the accuracy of those airdrops was unbelievable.
At times, the fire crews got a little bit of help from residents. We met one woman, 6 months pregnant.
Tell me what you're doing right now.
Trying to save my house.
The firefighters exhausted, but on a mission to save lives and homes. Like Captain Craig Blevins, already on duty for nearly 30 hours when we spoke to him.
We showed up here yesterday morning about 5 a.m. You haven't slept? Not really. But you're going to go as long as it takes? Yeah. How tough has it been fighting the winds? Yeah, you can't really beat the winds.
This was like an 80-mile-an-hour blowtorch, just heating each house up and lighting it on fire one after the other. You couldn't believe it. If we had a crew at every house, we still would have had a heck of a firefight on our hands.
There's nothing left here.
It's so hard to see. You know, this is not what we do this job for. We come to win, and you can see one house is standing, but our goal is for all of them to be standing. So this is hard to see for sure. Yeah, do you see how...
On our ride, we saw this burnt-out shell, gray and ghostly. Hard to believe this was actually someone's home.
Luckily, the tree is still standing,
But it belonged to Greg and Jennifer Champion and their 3 daughters. They were waiting at a checkpoint, but weren't allowed to get in to see their home of 2 years. But CAL FIRE Battalion Chief Pasqua brought us there so we could report back.
I wanted to find something for them, maybe a photo or a toy, anything to bring back to the family to say this survived, but there's nothing. The only thing I can find is this right here. It's some type of decoration. Maybe it was here in the living room. It's a ring of shells. I hope it means something to them. I'm going to give it to them. I tried to see if there's anything I could grab. This is the only thing I found. I don't know if it means anything.
Oh,
Yeah,
I actually do really love this.
The memento brought memories and then tears.
I do love it. No, thank you so much. Little treasures.
This family was grateful to be alive and grateful to the firefighters who tried to save their neighborhood.
If you live in Southern California, you expect the wind to blow. You do not expect it to bring death. So what went wrong this time? The answer is just about everything.
We had 80 to 100 mile per hour gusts. Those are hurricane force winds.
NBC meteorologist Dylan Dreyer was in Los Angeles and witnessed the devastation firsthand.
This is all that's left of this school. There hasn't been significant rain since October, so everything is bone dry. All it takes is a spark.
Wildfires are often best fought from above. That didn't work as well this time. Pomona College professor Char Miller is an expert on wildfires.
When the winds are at 40 miles an hour, they cannot fly into these canyons, fly over these areas. Now double that airspeed to 80, and you'll understand the dilemma they faced.
Often that wind overwhelmed the work of the fire department's boots on the ground.
As a fire boss once told me, when the wind is 10 miles an hour, I'm a firefighter. When it's 30 miles an hour, I'm an observer.
It was during that first night that water ran short in some areas because firefighters had used so much of it.
This hydrant has no water in it.
What is going on with the water situation?
We have had some issues with water. If you stick enough straws into a glass of water, it's going to empty faster.
Even if you turn every fire hydrant on, the more water you're running, the less pressure you have. And without that water pressure, how do you get it's strong enough from the hoses to put out these fires.
Some people in LA wanted more than explanations, like this resident who confronted California Governor Gavin Newsom.
What are you going to do with the president right now?
We're getting the resources to help rebuild.
Why was there no water in the hydrants, Governor?
That's all, literally.
Is it going to be different next time?
It has to be. This afternoon, Governor Newsom asked for an independent investigation into the loss of water pressure. Stories online link the destruction to cuts in the LA Fire Department's budget. The full picture is a little more complex. At a time when cities everywhere are prioritizing police funding, LA's fire chief argued to the mayor that less money for overtime impacted the department's ability to provide service.
There were no reductions that were made that would have impacted the situation that we were dealing with over the last couple of days.
For some, the truth was simpler and also tougher to hear. Firefighters and first responders were simply outmatched.
The winds were too strong, the flames were too intense, the topography was too dangerous, and that's a perfect storm, and a very dangerous one.
Professor Miller says today's crisis and tomorrow's will require a big discussion and some decisive action from our political leaders.
These fires are getting bigger, and we need resources to be able to fight them to sustain life in this region.
There's no question that in the years to come, millions will remain in harm's way, either by choice or necessity. Professor Miller says there are ways to make communities safer and more resilient. It won't be easy. It will take political consensus, long-term commitments, and significant investment. The stakes could not be higher.
We've got capital that can be invested in it, but if the Southern California can't fix this problem, it's not fixable. Then it means that California is not livable.
The scenes of destruction and devastation across Los Angeles over the last 4 days and nights are almost too much to comprehend. Here on PCH, home after home after home of these beachfront properties destroyed. Usually their view of the Pacific Ocean, now just ashes and smoke. This is all that's left of the house Steve Wiggins shared with his parents.
We lost nowhere to be. Partners, all our photographs and all of my grandpa's antique chests and all that kind of stuff.
But also buried in the rubble, something else. A small sense of hope.
That's all right. We're survivors. We'll get through it. We'll build another home.
Go, hey, go this way.
Amid all the chaos and pain this week, we've seen many signs of resilience too.
The fire is literally on the hill where I live.
What's going through your mind when you see that?
I hope to God my dogs are okay. They're my family.
Yeah, clearly your dogs mean everything to you.
I don't care about the house. I care about my dog.
Casey Colvin lives in Pacific Palisades and left his home in the morning before the fires began, never expecting what would happen next.
I got an evacuation order at like 11 in the morning on my phone. My boss is actually calling me saying, is everything okay in the Palisades? I said, I'm in the city. I don't know.
His first and only thought was for his little dogs waiting for him at home.
I literally rescued them off the street. They deserve better than this.
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
How do I get to my house?
Okay. The next hour was the longest Casey can remember. He just came to me, though, and said that the first responders who saw him went to his home and checked on his dogs. Moments later, you got the dog?
Yeah, this is my daughter. The behavioral dog. He ran out of the house, though.
Do you know where the other one is?
No, I have an air tag on him, but it doesn't seem to be working.
Oh.
Here's the other.
Oh, what's her name or his name?
Tika.
Casey is hopeful his other dog will also be home soon. On the other side of town, as the fires raged, Abraham Kevorkian took a huge risk. But the next day, he had a huge reward.
My driveway. They're coming. The embers are all coming.
What happened? That you basically were the last man standing on the street?
Right now, it seems like I'm the last man standing in the street.
Abraham and his wife went to sleep with the fire in the mountains, far away. But then,
when we woke up, I see a big blaze of red right there where the school area is, right? You can see the school now because there's no homes left.
It was time to go.
We started packing up. I packed all the stuff in the car, and I told her, go ahead and take off. I'll follow you.
But Abraham didn't follow his wife.
Wherever I can get water, I'm doing it.
Abraham says he never got an evacuation notice, but when he saw the house across the street in flames, he decided to stay, even though firefighters urged him to leave.
I see a cloud of smoke, fire, ambers, just like a rain flying over me. So all I'm doing is just with a hose, just like, because it got so hot, the embers were just falling down.
With no time to think, Abraham just kept doing.
I did whatever I can to hose. Then I realized that some embers had fallen next to the neighbor's house. I'm like, oh shit. So I went and grabbed his hose. I noticed that there was more water pressure. After that, I started running around, spraying other people's neighbors' rooftops.
For hours, Abraham says he sprayed water on his house and his neighbors.
I says, I'm still alive. I just gotta keep fighting. There's nobody coming here. There's nobody on the street except me. And I just kept going with the water.
Abraham knew it was a big risk, the kind authorities urged people not to take. But the next morning, he was still standing, and so was his house.
If I didn't stay, I believe, if I didn't stay and wet this whole roof over and over again, I think it would have caught on fire and the house would have been lost. I believe that. I think that I did save this house. If I had more water, I think I would have done more. I would have helped everybody that I can in my power. Why not?
What is your hope for this community?
I'll come back and rebuild it. Oh yeah, don't give up. Don't just walk away. So sometimes we have to start all over again.
What a crazy idea it is. What a bit of madness. This vast, sprawling city, collection of cities, on an earthquake-prone, drought-prone, fire-prone desert by the sea. What were we thinking? Even the water to drink, water to fight the fires, imported from somewhere else, like the people. And yes, it is glorious and inspired, and has given the whole world 100 years of drama, joy, and laughter. Its names and faces known and loved and loathed by humans everywhere.
Can I help you load the chairs in?
And every once in a while, it is just impossible.
I'm trying to find my jacket.
Which is how living in LA feels to a lot of people just now. Impossible and terrifying.
The flames are just kind of leaping right over us.
This one, many fires at once, is perhaps the worst of them. But there are so many, many stories in the history of this great benighted city. There has been so much loss.
Fire has jumped Mount Holland at the crest of the Santa Monica. It's headed toward LA.
Rare is the Angelino who remembers this one personally. This was 1961, and it was Bel Air. This one destroyed 484 homes, chewed through 6,000 acres of prime real estate. Burt Lancaster's house burned down, and Joan Fontaine's and Zsa Zsa Gabor's and Dennis Hopper's.
I'm Tom Brokaw over Laguna Beach, California.
This is the one they call the Great Fire of '93. Took out a giant swath of Laguna. And there were more. Have always been more. One fire after another some years through the Santa Ana winds of winter so dry that pliant oak and chaparral shriveled to kindling, practically begged to be burned. How often have bits of Malibu gone down in flames to take multi-million-dollar mansions with them? Are we keeping track of the fires and the droughts and the floods and the earthquakes and the gridlock and housing prices that are clearly insane? And still we come here. Because there is something about Los Angeles, this siren of a city by the sea, that pulls us in and makes us stay even if we tell ourselves we probably shouldn't.
Will it be different this time? Now that it's worse, much worse. That Great Fire in '93 took out something like 700 houses. This time, 31 years later, more than 10,000 homes have been lost. We'll argue, of course, about mitigation practices, about what we should have done, and about climate change for sure. Is that what made this one so big, so bad? But here is an easy prediction. Though it will be very difficult, it will all be rebuilt. And most of us will stay. And more will come to this great mess of a city, even if, at the moment, it feels like the end of the world.
Okay, let's go.